And how does that actually break down? So you need some serious training, 48 hours, on the skills that will map
What
to
we
the
know as
ICF
core competencies, right? Yeah.
But if you're going to NYU or Columbia, they may not use the ICF core competencies, but they will map to that. So most every coach training program on the planet teaches active listening.
One would hope, yes.
Active listening, or they call it something else.
Right.
Or powerful questioning, or designing actions. These are all important. But we want to make sure that all coaches have this kind of a training. So you'd need, at least of the 60 hours of coach-specific training, you need 48 of them to be on these skills, these core competencies. You have to be able to demonstrate that. And 12 other of those could be on practice building, conducting yourself as a coach, your personal foundation.
Okay.
You have that year to establish that. And my assistant is going through this route.
Really?
Yeah, so she's concerned. She's already signed up. She already knows that she's got her coach-specific training program lined up. And she knows that she can easily get 60 hours because she had some prior coach-specific training from another establishment.
Oh, great.
And
Okay.
So
you can combine that. And
you can combine
is
it.
there a time limit? I mean, if she had that 5 years ago, can that still be included in her credentials?
If she's never applied for a credential, let's
I'm sorry.
separate that. So let's
yes,
separate that.
my mistake.
We're
Can
talking
that
about
be
membership
included
right now.
in her 60 hours specific training if she took 25 hours 5 years ago?
As far as I know, yes. And there are more details than you want on the ICF website at coachfederation.org under credentials.
And it's not fair for me to think Merle's going to know everything, but so far she's answered every question, so that's good.
So, but let's go back, and you say that people have collapsed the distinction between some of these terms. I think it's important.
I just did. I made,
Right.
and you confuse credentialing with coach-specific training,
That's right.
and my mistake. So it's easy to do,
So some people will be members of an association and they'll never get their credential. They're not seeking the credential.
Right.
But they want to be in there for the networking. They want to be in there for the kind of ongoing education they can have. Programs that ICF offers, there are some very significant benefits, and there will be, especially as we increase our educational offerings and diversify them over the next few years. Plus, you're in an institution that is the leading institution of its kind in the world and has the best name recognition right now in the world. Don't you want to be part of that?
If you're going to be part of it, then why not?
So that's membership. But even to be a member, we are expecting that we will have a kind of adherence to a body of knowledge that everyone will say gives credibility to someone who calls themselves a professional coach. Many stories have been told of people walking down the street, and especially in some cities in the country, and I'm going to let them remain nameless, but I've seen hairstylist coach, real estate coach, and there are real estate coaches or people who really work with the salespeople who are realtors. That's a different story. But a real estate coach who's going to help you sell your house, that's a different story. The car sale coach, okay.
The best I've seen is the knife coach. And everybody goes, the knife coach? And actually, and I'm going, okay. What she does is coach you before you have plastic surgery. Now, you got to admit, the title is impressive because it definitely makes you go, what?
So, scary.
I'm not sure I want to hire a knife
coach.
That's
membership. Now we stay, if someone is a member, they are interested in really testing their mettle against others who are in our profession. And they are interested in stage development of their coaching. So they start out and they say, I've got this number of years of experience, I have coached this number of people, I've had this amount of training, I'm really interested in seeing if I can sit for this professional credential. And then have that logo on my website or on my business card, and it just makes me really feel good and strong. It strengthens my conviction that I am who I say I am.
So it's additional letters after your name, and it's, I'm not going to say it's like a PhD, but it does recognize that you have met a certain standard within your profession. And then you can graduate up to the next level.
The next level, which is the professional certified coach,
Mm-hmm.
which has another threshold in terms of the amount of coach-specific training, 125 hours.
Mm-hmm.
More people that you've coached.
I think that's 750 hours
Mm-hmm.
and with a little
Right.
combination.
That's right.
And yeah, and people want, I think once you get started, you want to go to the next level.
Right.
It's kind of
It's a kind of a stretch goal for many people.
mm-hmm.
It's there, let me see what I can do. But also, even if we never had those 3 credentials and we had just a single one that said, I've done coach-specific training, I've coached X number of people, and these people can attest to the quality of my coaching. I've sat for a professional exam. That is a sense, that's a kind of a marker of ongoing professional development. And as a coach, we're helping other people develop. Shall we not show that we're developing as well?
Right.
So that's why I have a credential. And as soon as it became available, I was interested in it. And part of it is I was kind of competing with, at first I thought I was competing with others.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I was really stretching myself
Right.
to challenge my conceptions and my perceptions of what this coaching was and what was successful coaching. And to be judged by my peers was really very, very humbling
Mm-hmm.
and very inspiring at the same time.
Also, and the competition, there is an element of competition because it's self-competition also. It's like, how high can I go?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then
it's
so then that third thing I want to distinguish. So we've talked about membership,
mm-hmm.
we've talked about credentialing, and then this other thing called accreditation. And what's that? So accreditation is when we look at providers of coach-specific training, how might the ICF accredit those institutions?
Mm.
So we have those who provide 125 hours of coach-specific training mapped to the 11 core competencies.
Now, when you say mapped to, what does that mean?
All of those competencies are taught extensively.
Within that 125 hours, okay.
People are
Great.
supervised in their coaching, and people have to demonstrate their competence, and some testing is done inside those schools. And those are called Accredited Coach Training Programs, ACTPs. And we have a
Okay.
list of them on our website. Another level of credentialing is, accreditation, now I'm doing it. Accreditation is when a program has some coach training, but not 125 hours.
Right.
It doesn't have a full program. So the MER candidate could look at these as well, all right? And that's called approved coach training hours.
Approved coach training hours, okay. Okay.
And then the third level, you can actually go to any institution that offers anything called coach-specific training, but it is therefore, then it would be on you to build a case that that would qualify for coach-specific training aligned with the core competency. So that's a little bit more of a hoop for you, a narrower hoop for you to jump through, a little bit more work to put together.
But
so that's
it's
accreditation.
right. But there's 3 possibilities. I mean, and if you're smart, I guess I don't know about smart, but if you're efficient, you might just want to get it done with going to an accredited.
Coach training organization.
Right. But there are, if you're in the middle of something, it can still be, you can still salvage it or build on it or whatever the case may be.
Most of us are very interested in the kind of collage of learning
Right.
that's available in today's world. So I think it's more going to be the norm in the next few years that people are going to go to perhaps an academic institution to learn something about the disciplines underpinning coaching. And they'll do some commercial coach training to get the skill development, practice building, etc. And maybe they'll do something very, very specialized because they may be interested in neural plasticity and they may do some work in that arena, or they're interested in energy coaching. And it's very silent and it's really from another, and you just talked about knife coaching. Who knows? Who knows? But that collage that you can comprise, our interests go in many directions, and I really want my own learning and development to take its own course. I don't want to necessarily just be structured in one way. So let us not just, become slaves to the idea of becoming members or getting the credential. Let's really blossom into learning and growing so that we can be in service of humanity flourishing.
I hear what you're saying, because it's almost like you're saying it's cafeteria style coaching, and you can build it based on the career that you want to establish. And that could be, it could meet ICF requirements or it couldn't, and you could work to do that also. So that's a very good point. I mean, I would go for the easy way, but that's me. And then, but you know, for other people who already have a career in mind, I mean, I just sort of fell into coaching and went, oh my gosh, I love this profession. Let me do everything I have to do to become a coach. But other people might have their mind, you know, direct how the trajectory they would like their career to take.
And you know, in these difficult economic times, it's not always easy to put down the money for a 125-hour program.
Right.
Where it might be easier to put together a smorgasbord approach. And I think we all have to be sensitive to that.
Yes, and I love that ICF is so flexible in that, and they've provided so many, I don't want to say loopholes, but they've so many opportunities to actually become a part of the group. So that's good. It was a courageous move that they made, though. It was, and I'm sure it took a lot of thinking, or consideration, because.
And you were one of the catalysts for this.
Yes, I was. I was on a great, yes, I was on the ICF Membership and Community Committee, and we struggled with this so much. And of course, the concern is, you know, there are some people that are not going to go through the 60-hour training, and if they don't have it, and does that mean you're going to lose members and therefore money and therefore clout? And I know what was the primary cause that made ICF go, this needs to be done. And like I said, I really think it's a courageous move, because there are going to be some casualties, you know, certainly.
Well, I think there were several reasons. One was the regulatory environment. I think when you can demonstrate that your members are well trained, and we know that you're trained, even though you may be very well trained in another discipline, that's something different. You may be practicing coaching skills, but you don't have, for example, the coaching framework that says we move from here, through here, and end up with the client's agenda always in mind, producing results, helping to design actions, managing progress and accountability. Those are very well thought out. And so when we came to the thinking about MER, minimum eligibility requirements, we said, what do we owe our members?
Yeah.
Don't we owe them the idea of what will have the longest shelf life for you? So we have had many, many members in chapters around the world who practice coaching skills and wanted to be in a community of coaches. And they never really felt that they wanted necessarily to join ICF. Oddly enough, when we raise the bar and we say now there are, I mean, we could call them barriers to entry, but not really. There are standards to meet.
Standards, absolutely.
Standards to meet. Suddenly, we have an influx. So where we thought we might have a drop-off, we had 534 members, new members join in February. Maybe they want to join and demonstrate that they're going to be doing their coach-specific training and they want to be professional members for a year. Or maybe they're just thinking, I want to do this. There's a buzz out here. This is a place to be. This is what I'm doing. Let me become the best I can be at this. I may have lots of other skills, but I want to be known. I want to be in this crowd of people where this, you know, there's kind of a momentum moving in the direction of the best.
And this crowd has meaning now, because what you've done, raised the bar, like you said, and it is. If you say I'm a member of ICF, it does mean something, and it means I've met these requirements, and I'm moving on, and I have a path of which I can follow. This is fascinating, and we are so appreciative to Merle. We're just going to use her up this week. We're going to have her tonight, and we did that. But she's also going to be at the meeting on Wednesday and talking to that, and you can ask questions there. If you haven't registered for the meeting on Wednesday, please do. You can find it at the website that's on the bottom of the page here. Merle, we're looking forward to it. We thank you so much for being here, and we're so glad you're on our side way up at Global. Yay!
Well, thank you for doing the work on the ground in New York, because it's meant a big it's been a big difference for the ICF.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.